Somehow the story of Ghost of Yotei takes an even crazier turn. You're telling me, according to this rumor, that Sony decided to do the meme. They decided to stick a chick in it and make it lame at the behest of the developers? I mean, check this out. Sony executives not happy with initial A Ghost of Yotei response, and developers were blindsided with new female character. So they were... Let's get this straight. They were working on a follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima, right? Like, it's 5 years on. It totally makes sense. The game just got a PC release. It had overwhelming success. Yeah, makes a lot of sense that they would be trying to build upon the momentum of that franchise. And then Sony, not understanding that allowing their developers to work on the games that made them successful to begin with, needed a couple of bullet points. They needed a few tips in order to make a better game. And their idea was to hire this crazy activist bitch and throw her into the game. Makes a lot of sense. Now, with that said, and I've gone over this before, that Erika Ishii, she's a nutcase, okay? But that doesn't preclude her from giving a good performance. The game still could be good, but if we got Sony and they're meddling over the top of this, like, the Sony executives also thought that they had a massive hit on their hands in the form of Concord, so, boy, is the AAA gaming space just speedrunning its collapse? Because we don't see any good decisions. We don't see Sony coming in and making any positive changes in any of their recent releases. Like, this is crazy, man. Every time we turn around, they're out there messing around with Stellar Blade, forcing the PSN accounts on Helldivers 2, previously mentioned Ghost of Tsushima, and of course the God of War Ragnarok PC port, which is a fully single-player game, but you need to have a PSN account in order to play the game on Steam. It makes no sense at all. It does if you want to, delve down the rabbit hole of, they want full control of everything, even if it's not on their platform, blah, 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 blah. We're talking about the quality of the end product here, not any of the conspiracy theories that I may or may not somewhat believe, but that's not the point of this. We're talking about Ghost of Yotei right now and how the executives are meddling with this. A new rumor claims that Sony executives are seemingly not happy with the response to the announcement trailer of Ghost of Yotei. Like, I was more positive, and there are several people that are out there that were, taking a look at his Sucker Punch's track record, realizing that, just because a chick in video game doesn't mean woke. I understand you guys have been burned before, but let's not hastily jump to any conclusions and write something off before you see it. The moment that this crosses a line is the moment that everybody's going to turn on the game collectively, so even the people giving it the benefit of the doubt, you might think are wasting their breath on this. You think that they should probably take the approach that what Konami is doing after a very long and protracted streak of failures, like, this is how they're marketing their game, as opposed to how, Sony's telling Sucker Punch to market their game with their mid-girl boss. But that's all right. We don't need thanging in a samurai game or anything like that, okay? As long as choices make sense and story and narrative isn't compromised for the message, there isn't too much to fear. But then you see these rumors and you realize that, there are notes getting passed along, and you have to be aware that there's some interesting stuff going on. Okay, YouTuber Endymion, shared this information from an alleged insider. He said apparently Ghost of Yotei blindsided many people when they were working at Sony, who were not made aware of what Sucker Punch was making. He added in the people in the mid-levels at Sony were actually confused when Yotei was announced because they were under the impression that Jin Sakai would be getting a sequel. Interesting, because this game is also set 300 years in the future, which technically and technologically speaking, is that really going to be that big of a jump that would end up precluding the continuation of Jin Sakai's story, or is that just a convenient cover? I'll be interested to see how this all shakes out. Endymion also shared, and they are not happy at all when it comes to response to that game, either internally at Sony right now. The game received mixed reactions, with a number of top comments bemoaning Sucker Punch abandoning Jin Sakai's story. One lamented, yes, imagine hearing about Jin as a legendary, a folk tale quest. I don't know why that's bad. Wouldn't he be contributing to the greater world? And this is 300 years separating the stories. I mean, come on. Another wrote, A Ghost of was the best idea to stick with. This way they can tell loads of different stories from different eras, showing pretty cool characters. Yeah, that's where I landed on this. Makes sense. So, yes, so this is set in 1600, turn of the Sengoku Jidai period to Edo, 400 years after Jin Sakai wrote Defunct 140. 1603 is the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate, and Yotei is a major mountain in Hokkaido, northernmost island of Japan, which leads me to believe that we're able to explore Hokkaido. Exciting stuff. Lots to explore. A big open world, samurai, ronin, whatever the hell they're going to eventually land on calling this bitch's name. Like, that sounds fun. Sounds great. Feudal Japan, time of ninjas and shoguns and samurai. That's cool as hell. Everybody likes that in some form or factor. It's just, is it going to be true to the era? Is this going to be a 1600s representation of events? Or is this going to be 2025 sneaking in and rearing its ugly head? But yeah, a sentiment that I've seen run around here a couple of different times, and it's kind of pissing me off if we're going to be completely honest, because it's not a fair comparison, okay? One person pilloried the game comparing it to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Sucker Punch saw AC Shadows and went, I'd hold my sake. Yeah, Ubisoft were finally introducing samurais to Assassin's Creed. Sucker Punch, hold my sake for the second time. You think centering your story around a black samurai in the context this is going to be historically accurate, taking some novelty out of history, blowing up his backstory, making all of those incongruent changes to lore, focusing on relationships, having what they presented as being a historically accurate samurai run around and behead people. I understand that it's an open world game, but don't tell us it's going to be accurate. Don't base it on an actual character, an actual historical being. It's not something that Ubisoft has done with any of their other assassins in their Assassin's Creed games. Like, you interact. Like, I remember, especially during the Ezio trilogy, 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. Is that the third? I know Brotherhood was definitely the second one. It kind of had a couple of cool mechanics that are in there. And yeah, you squared up against the Borgias when they were taking over the Catholic Church. You met Leonardo da Vinci, and I think he built like a flying contraption for you. You never played as Da Vinci. You weren't the Pope. You were a unique character going around the world. That's totally different than squaring up as one of these people, and then depending on the day saying, we got a historically accurate game. Oh no, we're playing fast and loose with the lore. And oh yeah, Atsu, the protagonist of Yotei, she's actually Japanese. Okay, like, this isn't cherry picking. Somebody who showed up on a raft in, 1598. So stop it. I understand being trepidatious, but that would be like turning your nose up anytime you see somebody with a crayon-colored dye job and a side shave and saying, I'm not engaging with any of that stuff, and then missing out on the tremendous story that shows like Arcane present you. You can go ahead. You can absolutely go ahead and play by the averages that's out there. But the exceptions do exist from time to time. And we have yet to see, even a week after the announcement, outside of this rumor right here, which is very much unconfirmed, and still doesn't really say anything other than, yeah, Sony wanted a chick in it. People at Sucker Punch were thinking that, yeah, they were going to be doing a Jin Sakai game, which kind of tells me that, oh yeah, they're just focused on making a good game. But when it comes to Sony, and the fact that, yeah, within the past week or so, they've released corporate reports, and they're really focusing on DEI, and this is over in Japan, which is not great. Okay, recently revised a diversity, equity, and inclusion statement for the first time in 10 years to showcase its attitude to diversity. Sony works to globally promote greater opportunities for women as part of the efforts to ensure inclusive work environments. I mean, they've seen all of the great work that all of those female directors have done over there at Rings of Power, and they thought, you know what? We need some of that stuff. As of March 31st, 2021, the percentage of women in Sony's workforce is 34%, and that the management positions held by women was 30.7% across the Sony group. Okay, now they want to go ahead and pump those numbers up for the strict purpose of need more chicks in gaming. Cool, tell me how well that's working out for the likes of CD Projekt Red and Ubisoft right now. Oh right, you can't get a word in edgewise because they're laying off so many people. Nobody can keep straight who the communications director is. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.